Robert, I want to talk about your book. You've got a new
Thank you.
biography of the Queen. What do you think she will be making of this Caribbean visit? Do you think she'll be really interested in what Kate and William are doing and how they're handling it all?
I think, like every other challenge that we in the media, obviously we kind of get preoccupied with whatever the news of the moment is. She takes the long view. She's seen these things happen before. She's going right the way back through her reign. She's had all sorts of challenges. I mean, at any one point, there's always been somewhere one of her realms that's sort of getting fractious. And I mean, I look back to in the course of my book, I revisited some of her trips to Canada in the 60s. Back then, Canada was the place where there were real protests. And I mean, at one point there was talk of sort of snipers hiding out in the woods, waiting to have a pot shot at her. There were riots. I mean, the riot police were arrested hundreds of people in Quebec, which was calling for the Queen not to turn up. So, I mean, she's seen all this stuff. And then during the 80s and the 90s, it was Australia, which was the part of the world that was talking about referenda. And, she went over there. She went to stay with Paul Keating.
Oh, that still blows up every now and again.
Yeah.
Do you think she picks up the phone and calls William and says, "Oh, I'm sorry you're having a tricky time. Here's my advice"?
That's my question. Is like, do you think she has notes for them on their return?
Yeah.
I think it's more a case of if they want her advice, they can have it. She's very much not into sort of giving people lessons, telling this is how you do it. I mean, I did interview Prince William a few years ago about this for one of my previous books, and he said, she's always there, but she doesn't sort of say this is what you do. I think a lot of it is just learned by experience. But if he, I'm quite sure if there's a moment that he's worried about something, or how should I frame this, he would have no hesitation about picking up the phone and asking her advice. And I remember Prince Charles used to do that a lot, particularly with the Queen Mother, actually. He'd often say, look, what do you think? Well, what's a good way of doing this?
And dare I ask, what have you learned about her relationship with Prince Harry and Meghan?
Well, I think the relationship with Harry is still very strong. It's, there is a real, there's a fondness, a bond there. He's devoted to her. And she's very good at compartmentalizing, talk to people who know her very well. There's sort of family and there's business. So the whole issue of them leaving the royal family, their SussexRoyal.com website, all that kind of thing, their patronages, that's business. That gets dealt with separately. But in terms of grandmother-grandson relationship, it's still very strong. And clearly she will be sad that he's not coming over for this service next week. But at the same time, she's seen so much. She's been through so many, dramas, family dramas, national, international dramas, that she can stand back and just think, well, as one of her former officials told me, she operates on the principle, this storm too shall pass.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that memorial next week, there is some concern that the Queen won't be able to go. What do you know anything about that?
I think they'll be keeping an open mind until really quite the last minute. I mean, we were all expecting to see the Queen at the Commonwealth service at Westminster Abbey, which I was at last week on Commonwealth Day, and she just decided, with a few days to go, she thought, no, actually, I'll sit this one out. I'll watch it on TV. I'm sure she'll make every effort she can to be there, but I don't think she wants to take any risks.
Heartbreaking if she can't.
Well, she's realistic. She's stoical. She will take the view that if it's better that I don't go for whatever reason. What I'm picking up. I don't know about you, Charlotte, but I'm definitely picking up that this is not a medical condition we need to worry about. This is down to two issues, which are mobility and dignity. One is moving around comfortably, and it's a big ask. Come up from Windsor. Even if she takes a short route into Westminster Abbey, it's still quite a long walk up an aisle in front of 2,000 people, live TV cameras, and then you're sitting in a pretty much bolt upright in her chair for an hour.
Service. Is there any chance that she can do that and then leave halfway through? Or just do the beginning bit or something.
I think that then raises more questions than it asks. But the other key thing is dignity. She is the Queen. She wants to look like the Queen. She doesn't want to look infirm or
well, you were saying that last week.
God forbid, have some sort of fall. I think
I do the same thing.
What might be, and it's all about sort of normalising the next stage of where we are. So I remember the first year when she didn't come to the cenotaph. That was quite a big thing. But now we're sort of used to that. And I think what would be a nice thing would be perhaps if either Prince Charles or maybe the Duke of Cambridge or someone, maybe took her by the arm into the Abbey. I mean, we're so used to these sort of formal processions. It doesn't have to be like that. This is a family event. I mean, I think it would send out a very strong statement, perhaps, if she was feeling...
Meghan Markle and meet him halfway down. She wants to be independent.
Make an entrance. I don't. Queen. One person who does not need to make an entrance is the Queen. Really.
I have a question for you. If I want to steal Joe's job for a second,
fire away.
Do you think the Queen is still driving?
Not lately. I don't know whether she's given up the driving for good. I suspect maybe she's decided after all Prince Philip's driving career did not end well.
That's why I'm so fascinated to know.
But on the whole, she still has recently, not immediately in the last few weeks, but I mean, certainly within the last year, she's been seen driving around the estate. I don't think,
she can't do much harm there, right?
Not really, because it's still got signs everywhere saying speed limit 38 miles an hour. It's Prince Philip's unusual speed limit he put in. I think what we can safely say is she's certainly given up riding. I don't think we'll see her on her fell pony again.
That's a major moment, though, isn't it? I mean, the day the Queen gives up riding is a big step in her...
Yes, but I can't think of many other people approaching a 96th birthday who are still regularly getting on a horse.
No, it's a long way up.